Hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Hill Studio. Today I'll be making a birthday gift box filled with flowers. This is not a new concept. It's been on Pinterest and Instagram for years. I just want to show you how it's made. And this is what it looks like. So I'll be using the 5x7 Happy Birthday embossing folder. This is by Cuttlebug. They have a small one and a large one. And then all these colors for a couple of flower punches and leaf. Now the basic card is just yellow and white with a little bit of satin ribbon. So to start with, I have a 5x7 inch card base, and then I've got a white mat that's 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I'm going to run that mat through this large embossing folder. I'll be using my Sizzix Big Shot with an extended platform, and I'll move over to tab 1. You can see it shows you on the platform that this is for embossing folders. I'll get that put into my machine with a plate under the embossing folder and one over the top. And you simply run that through and it gives you a very nice impression of the Happy Birthday embossing folder. Now I did use some heavyweight cardstock for both the card front and the mat. And the heavyweight cardstock works very well for me when using a busy embossing folder like this one. Now I'm using the lines on my grid mat here to help me get this mat put down on the front of my card. Alright, using a little liquid adhesive. If I need to make some minor adjustments, I can do so. Now here is the top and bottom for my gift box, and I just used my regular paper cutter to cut a couple of those, that rectangle and that square. Then I'm taking my pencil and I'm marking the center of both the bottom of the box and the box lid, and I will use these little marks to help me adhere my satin ribbon. So I'm just eyeballing this and cutting some lengths of satin ribbon, and I'll take my tape runner and go over those pencil marks, just a couple of little strips of tape runner, and then I'm going to take the satin ribbon and adhere that to the back side of the box lid and also the body of the box, the bottom part. And that's it. That just helps me align my satin ribbon as I wrap it around the front and adhere it to the back. Now I'm ready to add some foam tape just to give this a little bit of dimension on the front of my card. By the way, I'm using titanium scissors. These are very handy when working with something like foam tape because that sticky foam tape will not stick to the blades of your titanium scissors. I found these at Walmart in the sewing section. They're really not that expensive, and I use them all the time when I'm working with things like foam tape. Okay, now I'm ready to get this put on the front of my card. I'll just remove that release paper, and then again I will use my grid mat to help me align the satin ribbon, which is running now down the center of my box. I'm going to try to do my best to center that on the front of the card, and then I'll add the box lid just at a little bit of an angle so that I can fit those flowers into the gift box. So the only other thing I needed to do here was tie a little ribbon and get that put onto the front of my box, and then cut the tails so that they look good on the front of my card. Okay, give those a quick little snip here. And now I'm ready to move on to the fun part, which is adding all those beautiful flowers in that little pop of color. Now I'm going to show you how I did this just with one flower. So I take the larger punch and the smaller punch, and these are 3 different shades of pink. And I like to move that little clear thing on the back of my punches so that I can see where I'm punching from the back to the front. Then I use a minimal amount of liquid adhesive here and start putting my flower together. This allows me to move the petals around as I see fit before the adhesive dries. Okay, I'm going to get the center, and I'll do that with each of those different colors of flowers, making 2 sizes, a few large flowers and a few smaller flowers. And then again going along with the punch for my leaves. Next, I like to bring over a foam mat. This is about a 1/2 inch thick foam mat and a ball stylus. And I just go around the edges of the flower and then in the middle of the flower, pressing down fairly firmly, and you can see this gives me just a little added dimension for each of my flowers. Now, as a rule of thumb, I like to use the larger ball stylus on the larger flowers and a smaller ball stylus on the smaller flowers. This technique just works for me. Do whatever works best for you, and you don't even have to add dimension to your flowers if you don't want to. So there's my little rainbow of flowers and my leaves ready to go on the front of my design here. Now I like starting with the leaves. I don't know why I do this. I'm just showing you how I come up with my composition here. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but I wanted to leave this in to show you that I do play around a little bit visually with how this is going to go together, and I never know how it's going to come out. I'm just putting things that visually appeal to me as far as the composition goes. And I like to use my larger flowers first. I'm going to work from the narrow side, which is the left, over to the wider side, which you can see from the box top to the bottom of the box. Gives me ample room there for some of these larger flowers. Trying to be cognizant of not putting the same colors next to each other. So just divvying up the colors as I go across, and then I'll go back with some of the smaller flowers and start filling in between those larger ones, just to give my box a visually appealing look here in both color and form. Now this is a great way to use up any scraps that you might have laying around. I tried to again use at least 3 different colors on each of the larger flowers and 2 different colors on the smaller flowers. And then the box top and the box bottom, as I explained before, I just cut those with my paper cutter. So you didn't have to have any special die for the box itself. And I think you could even use, if you've got some ephemera laying around that already has cut out flowers, use those. You don't have to die cut or punch any of your flowers if you don't have those supplies. I think butterflies would be kind of cute coming out of this box as well. So after you've got all your flowers punched and kind of molded on your foam mat, this goes together pretty quickly. And I just love the play of colors on this card. I think it's cheerful and it just says happy birthday. So I used the Friends stamps from Stampendous and these Bow Bunny die set here just to cut out a little tag to add to the front of my card. And that completes the front of the card. This is what I will use on the inside sentiment, again with a scrap of that yellow paper that I used on the gift box. I like to have some continuity between the front of my card and the inside of my card, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, just something as simple as this. And then I'll quickly get that put down, again with liquid adhesive, so I can make minor adjustments if I need to before the adhesive is permanent. And that is the finishing touch for my card today. And last but not least, I like to do a coordinating envelope. So I like to put a little stamp on the outside and something on the back side, and then line the envelope with no special dies or measurements. And if you're interested in learning how to line your own envelopes, go over and visit the Vintage Hill Studio YouTube channel and search for Easy Peasy Envelope Liner. I hope you enjoyed watching how this card came together today, and I hope to see you again next week. Happy crafting, everyone!